Before I tell you this story, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now, because what you are about to hear is not just a folktale. It is a warning. It is a mirror. And depending on who you are, it might just be your story too. There is a woman in this story whose hunger was so great, it cost her her voice. Not her singing voice, not her speaking voice. Literally, her mouth was sealed shut by the gods themselves. Her name was Adaku, and she was born in a small village called Banga, where everyone knew your name, your business, your blessing, and your shame. Adaku knew all three. Stay with me to the very end of this story, because what happens when a woman who has eaten everything finally has nothing left to eat will stay with you long after the screen goes dark. If this story already has you feeling something, hit subscribe right now. More tales are coming, and you don't want to miss them. Welcome to Tales by RM. This is where real stories live. Adaku was born in the small village of Banga, a village where the mornings smelled of palm oil and firewood, and the evenings smelled of supper and stories. She was a beautiful child. Big eyes, loud laugh, the kind of baby that made old women want to hold her. But Adaku had a problem that began before she could even speak. As a child, her parents would bribe her with food to stop her from crying. It worked every time. Crying? Here, eat this. Upset? Here, take this. Falling asleep? Here, finish this bowl. What her parents thought was kindness was building something inside her that kindness alone could not undo. This habit grew into a lifelong obsession. As she matured into a beautiful woman, her beauty was often overshadowed by her behavior. She would eat massive quantities of food. Not small portions, not second helpings, massive quantities. At any hour, in any setting, without apology. The village children were the first ones to say it out loud. Glutton. Olonjeya. The names followed her like a shadow, and the tragedy was, she had enough beauty to be loved, enough wit to be respected, but every time the food arrived, everything else disappeared. As an adult, Adaku became a social outcast, not because she was wicked, not because she was dangerous, but because where Adaku went, hunger followed. She would follow the aroma of cooking. Like a woman possessed, that scent would pull her across the compound, down the path, through the neighbour's open window, until she was standing there, watching. She would stare at her neighbours while they ate. Not a glance, not a polite look. She would stare with such intensity, such raw longing, that they felt forced to share. Because in Banga, you do not eat in front of a person who is watching you. The ancestors forbid it. And Adaku knew this. Whether she used it deliberately or not, the result was always the same. They shared, she ate. And when she was done, there was nothing left. left for anyone else.
Eventually, villagers began to run inside and lock their doors whenever they saw her coming. Pots were covered, fires were stoked in back rooms, children were sent to look out for her. Can you imagine? A grown woman being spotted from a distance, the way you spot a storm coming. But here is the part that breaks your heart a little. Adaku was not cruel. She was not lazy. She was not unfeeling. She was simply unable to stop, and that inability would one day cost her everything. Then came the day that would change everything. The day that the entire village would talk about for years. The day of Uju's wedding. Uju was Adaku's friend, her closest friend. She had trusted Adaku enough to make her a bridesmaid, to dress her in matching asoebi, to hand her flowers, to trust her with the most important day of her life. The compound was full. Music was playing. The smell of jollof rice drifted through the air like a blessing. And that was the problem. That smell. Adaku was assigned as a bridesmaid. She had one job. One simple, honorable job. Stand beside the bride. Dance with the other women. Smile. Long pause. She skipped the planned dance performances to sneak into the kitchen. The caterers were busy. There were dozens of them, pots everywhere. And then Adaku walked in, still in her bridesmaid dress, still holding her flowers. And she lied. She lied to the caterers, claiming the bride wanted food for her friends. And she made off with a large cooler of jollof rice and chicken. A whole cooler. Not a plate, not a serving. A cooler that was meant to feed 20 guests. The theft resulted in a food shortage for the guests. The ceremony reached that part. The eating, the celebrating, the sharing. And the food ran out. Guests murmured. Elders frowned. The bride's family was humiliated. And when the truth came out, Uju publicly shamed and banished her. Not quietly, not gently. In front of every single person who had come to celebrate. Get out of my compound. You have shamed me on the day I will remember forever. Go. And do not come back. The silence that followed was the loudest thing Adaku had ever heard. Shame, it turns out, is a very powerful motivator. Not always for the right thing, but powerful nonetheless. After the wedding incident, Adaku burned with something she had never felt before. The need to prove them wrong. Driven to prove her friend wrong about her chances of marriage, Adaku met a handsome man named Obiora. He was calm, steady, the kind of man who looked at you like you were worth the effort, and Adaku wanted him. She wanted the life he represented, but she knew if Obiora ever saw the real Adaku, the one that villagers
So she did what desperate love teaches people to do. She hid.
Fearing his rejection, she carefully hid her gluttony. Whenever they ate together, she took tiny portions, pretending to be a small eater. Tiny sips, polite bites. A dab of this, a little of that. A performance worthy of an award. And inside her, quietly, the hunger raged. Every meal together was torture. Every restaurant, every family dinner, every shared plate, she smiled through gritted teeth and told herself, not now. Not yet. Wait. Obiora fell in love with her, unaware of her true nature. Despite warnings from his friends, those friends who knew, who had heard the stories, who tried to whisper the truth to him, he chose her. Because that is what love does. It believes what it wants to believe. Drop a comment below. Whose side are you on? Can you understand why Adaku hid? Or do you think she should have told the truth from the start? I read every single one. And don't go anywhere, because what happens next will shock you, but restraint. For someone like Adaku was borrowed time, and borrowed time always runs out. One day, after days of hiding her hunger from Obiora, Adaku's cravings became unbearable. Days, not hours. Days of small portions and polite smiles and sitting on her hands while food sat right there in front of her. While walking home, she came across something at the crossroads. A large sacrificial offering, boiled eggs, corn, palm oil, laid out carefully, deliberately, placed at the crossroads for the gods. Every person in that village knew what a crossroads offering meant. It meant, this does not belong to human hands. This belongs to the spirit world. You do not touch it. You do not breathe on it. You walk past it with your eyes straight. One day, after days of hiding her hunger from Obiora, Adaku's cravings became unbearable. Days, not hours. Days of small portions and polite smiles and sitting on her hands while food sat right there in front of her. While walking home, she came across something at the crossroads. A large sacrificial offering. Boiled eggs, corn, palm oil, laid out carefully, deliberately, placed at the crossroads for the gods. Every person in that village knew what a crossroads offering meant. It meant, this does not belong to human hands. This belongs to the spirit world. You do not touch it. You do not breathe on it.
You walk past it with your eyes straight.
When Adaku returned home, she discovered she could no longer speak. Her mouth had been miraculously glued shut. She tried to open it. She pressed her fingers against her lips. She pulled at her jaw. Nothing. No amount of force could open it. She could not eat. She could not speak. She could not call for help. Her parents took her to the village traditionalist, the old man who sat at the edge of the village, the one people only visited when ordinary life had failed them. He looked at her for a long time. He consulted his instruments. Then he looked up. He revealed that the gods were angry. He told her that her mouth would only be released, whispers, if she publicly confessed her sins. Publicly. Not privately. Not in a whisper. Not in a letter no one else would see. Publicly. In front of the village. Every person who had locked their doors against her. Every face that had turned away. She had to stand before all of them. In front of the entire village, a tearful Adaku wrote her confession on a slate, her hands shaking as she formed each letter. Admitting she had eaten the sacred sacrifice. Admitting she had wronged the gods. Wronged her neighbors. Wronged herself. Instantly. The curse was lifted. And her mouth opened like a door that had been waiting for the right key all along. There is a kind of change that happens slowly, quietly, without announcement. The kind that no one believes at first. That is the kind that happened to Adaku, feeling true remorse for the shame she brought her family. She chose to change her life. Not because she was forced to, not because someone was watching, but because standing in front of that village with a slate in her shaking hands, she had finally seen herself. She practiced self-discipline, day by day, meal by meal, craving by craving. She sat with the discomfort of wanting what she could not have. She learned what it felt like to say, enough, and what it felt like to mean it. Eventually, she won back the respect of the village, one door at a time. One shared meal where she stopped herself. One morning where the aroma drifted past and she won back the heart of Obiora. One morning where the aroma drifted past and she kept walking and she won back the heart of Obiora. Obiora, who had been warned, who had almost left, who had seen the shame of the village judgment and had stood still. He stayed. Not because he had not seen her worst, but because he had seen what she did with it. There is a thing this story teaches us that I want you to hold for a moment. It is not about food. It was never about food. Adaku's gluttony was a hunger that went deeper than the stomach. It was the hunger of a child who had been taught that comfort came wrapped in something to eat, and no one, not her parents, not her village, not even Adaku herself, is it you are really hungry for? The gods did not seal her mouth to punish her. They sealed it to make her listen, to finally sit still inside herself and hear the silence she had been drowning out with every meal. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you will ever do in your life is stand in front of the people you have wronged and write the truth on a slate. Even when your hands are shaking, even when your knees want to give way, even when the shame feels like it will swallow you whole. Because the mouth that confesses is the mouth that is set free. And freedom, my friend, is always worth the moment before it. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Send it to the person who is hiding something, the one who is carrying something heavy.